The what do you guys find are like pros and cons of working together as brothers?
That's a
Good
fun question.
question.
Just answer that, please.
The pro for me is, I mean, no one knows how to communicate with me, and I guess for lack of a better term, no one knows how to check me the way my brother checks me. And kind of vice versa. We know each other's like breaking points and stuff like that. So I think that that's a benefit. It's also the downfall of it. No one knows how to annoy me more than my brothers. So, sometimes that's a gift and a curse, right? But yeah, there's, we get along, we're best friends. We've always had a great relationship. But yeah, there's some times where he really knows how to kind of grind my gears, and I'm sure he'll say the same thing about me. But the good thing about it is we know when to step away from a certain situation when it's getting a little too, when it escalates a little bit too much.
Yeah, my pro is like, Eric's my best friend. Like we grew up, we're 3 years apart, but we always grew up in like the same circle. So being able to work with him and getting to like travel and see him, that's like the biggest pro. Um, the biggest con, I think, is it's just like how we piss each other off sometimes. But we grew up in a family.
Sometimes I do it intentionally, I promise.
Yeah,
You got
Siblings are
to.
always pissing off each other intentionally.
Welcome to Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers. I'm Spike.
I'm Zac.
And I'm Claire.
Today we're talking to Eddie and Eric, the Stanky Brothers from Stanky Sauce. How you doing, guys?
Oh, we're doing great, man. Thanks for
Good,
having
man.
us.
Welcome to the shit show.
I love it.
Why don't you start off by telling us your history with hot sauce, spicy food, and how you ended up with the hot sauce company?
We started off the idea of Stanky Sauce came up in 2018 actually. As I was just, talking to my dad in the kitchen, and I had just registered an LLC for myself called Stanky LLC. And I just always, Eric and I, we've always talked about like creating something with our nickname Stanky, which is just short for our last name, Stankiewicz. But we just never knew what to do with it. And then as my dad's just eating a chip, and we always have like 4 or 5 hot sauces on the table, just putting a drop of hot sauce. And as he's eating, it's like, you should just make a hot sauce. You like hot sauce, make one for yourself, and other people will like it too. And then I was like, and I'll call it Stanky Sauce. And that's where the idea began. It didn't take off until 2020. It was supposed to. We always talked about going straight to a co-packer first. And this is, I mean, we'll bring up some of the Zac story, right? But this is before we knew what you went through with using a co-packer. We just said, let's figure out how to let's find the right co-packer. Let's do this so that way we can have that consistency, the scalability right off the bat. And the last thing we wanted to do was create a flavor ourselves that then would change slightly using the co-packer, which happens sometimes. So what was it?
So it happens all the time.
Yeah. So that was just a mentality. And then we had a meeting set with the co-packer we wanted to use for February of 2020. And we all know what happened at the end of that month. And so then we kind of just tabled it to, I ended up moving to Arizona. I lived in Phoenix as a pharmaceutical rep. And I learned quickly that that's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I took some of the money that I had saved up, and I went online. I went onto the database for co-packers. I found the co-packer in Arizona that was only 30 minutes away from where I was living, and Arizona Spice Company, if you've ever heard of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just
that co-packer was in Phoenix. That's why I got excited.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I called him up. I went to the store. I met up with them. He's like, yeah, we could do this. And he kind of just guided me through that process initially. Came back a week later with some recipe with the actual bottles made for him. Gave him the recipes, and we took off from there. Launched the company on January 10th of 2021, which is my birthday. And we just started kind of just posting stuff on Instagram and Facebook, and that's how we built it up. We didn't do live events, we didn't do markets, um, none of that. And I always say we kind of have done stuff backwards, but it's worked for us. So, and here we are. We're about to hit our 3-year anniversary. We have 5 flavors now. In addition, we started off with the 2. We have 5. We're working on some more, and just taking it step by step. It's all self-funded. So, what we can do to continue growing our brand and our story together. That's what we're doing. And that was a long answer, but I talk a lot, so get used to it.
He does
Your
talk a
show.
lot.
Have you guys always been into spicy food?
Eric?
So the funny thing is, I've never been into spicy food. Probably in like 2008, I started hanging out with a lot of Mexicans, and my life changed. Like once you start kind of diving into the way they play with the peppers and spices, I started realizing that there's a lot more to spice and flavor. And then not till recently, when we started doing this in 2020, did I actually start diving into like actual hot sauces. So Eddie always says that I'm the perfect example of what we try to do as a company, because our whole mission is to help introduce people to spicy foods. And I was never really a spicy kind of guy, but now I can bite into a habanero. Recently, we bit into a Scotch bonnet because that's one of the peppers we've been trying to play with. So I have a lot better of a tolerance now, and I really love it. I mean, doing these events and meeting a lot of the sauce makers, you see how people are not only playing with different flavors but different peppers. Everybody knows your habaneros, your jalapenos, but some guys are using some pretty gnarly peppers. And I never realized like the flavors behind the peppers. But I'm really starting to explore that a little bit more. And every day I learn something new about a pepper. I learned something new about a flavor. And just the guys that we've met doing these events and kind of throughout the US have really opened my eyes to the different possibilities. So I'm allowed one shelf. My wife allows me one shelf in my fridge for hot sauces. So all the hot sauces on there hold a very special place in my heart, and then the rest of them are over in our office. And during lunch we'll sample and try a few. But yeah, not till recently have I been a fan, like a big fan.
I have for a while, for a long time, since elementary school that I can remember liking spicy stuff. So
I can always remember Eddie and his buddy Sean. They would whatever hot sauce they can get their hands on, and our mom used to make picante. Our mom's Colombian, so it was like fresh onions, fresh cilantro, kind of let it what's pickle sort of in vinegar, and then she'll add the jalapenos was really the ones that we would add to the most, and they would go crazy for Eddie and my buddy Sean would go crazy for that stuff. So ever since I remember, Eddie has been always loving spicy foods.
yeah, so I give that a credit to my mom, because it started off with the jalapenos, and then little by little, I wanted it spicier and spicier. And this is late 90s. So the spicy isn't, it's not easy to get your hands on so much spicy. But we lived right next to a U-pick strawberry field, excuse me, and seasonally they would have U-pick habaneros. They'd just have like a nice little row of just habaneros. So she went and she picked out, and I remember they were just 2 bright, beautiful orange habanero peppers, and she brought them home, and it's like, this is what I'm going to put in the picante today. And I was like, awesome. And we're got to be like 12, if that. Kids nowadays, 12-year-olds have the highest tolerance in the world. Not so much back in the day. And I remember my friend Sean got like, I'd say a quarter of it and just ate it. And he just like lit up and started running around the house. He was also like very dramatic in everything he did. But it's funny. It's a core memory in my life. That specific day that I tried a habanero for the first time. I don't think I say that story a lot, but I do remember.
No,
it.
you don't. I remember that day.
I remember.
but you
And then
really
we went to
don't say
play
that
Mario
story.
64 after that. So yeah.
My first habanero is also a core memory.
There you go.
My dad picked it up at the store. We made we had tortillas with grilled pork and little bits of habanero and I remember just being like, I remember having the tiniest bit of it and being so proud that I could have like a bite of it.
Yeah,
And I think I was 9. I think I was 9 when I had my first habanero.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers, is brought to you by Irish Spike's unique hot sauces and Vandal pepper sauces. I'm Spike, the owner and executive saucier. Our sauces are handmade in the Pacific Northwest using the best possible ingredient. We believe that hot sauce equates to a balance of sensational heat coupled with a robust and complex flavor profile. Live your hottest life with Irish Spikes. Irish Spike's unique hot sauces and Vandal pepper sauces are available at saucecult.com. So we have a new section. It is listeners' questions. So I got a bunch of listeners to ask questions. So I'm just going to randomly read one that hasn't already been asked. Let's see. Cameron Koch said, "What do you look for in a new sauce idea? Is it something you don't make, something no one makes, or where your taste takes you?"
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's a
That is.
combination of the last two. I think I understand what you were saying with the first part of that, but definitely always looking for something, especially if you look at our product line, our 2 most popular sauces are probably the least utilized or available flavor profiles out there. Like everybody has a mango habanero, like we all made a mango habanero, right? So looking for something that's unique and definitely something that we don't make, but sometimes it's just like I try something or like a different food and I'll immediately like text Eric, even if it's at 2 in the morning. I'm like, I just tried this. I don't know what the heck it is, but I think we could do something based on this. And although we only have 5 recipes or 5 flavors out there, we have an arsenal, like I'm sure all of you do, of just flavor ideas and different recipes you like to try in the future, or
Well,
just at the mercy of the large scale with the co-packer. So we don't have a facility where we can kind of just make a small batch, which we would love that, and we hope to be there one day where we can do like those limited runs and just try something, and if it works, it works, and we can scale on that. But yeah, I think that it's a combination of those last 2 things.
well,
Awesome.
I mean, it's not like people don't just make hot sauce in their house and sell it anyway. Just follow suit, man. Doesn't
Do
seem
it,
to be an
ask for
issue
forgiveness,
anymore.
like,
I've heard you guys talk about these people. I don't know who they are.
What do you guys find are like pros and cons of working together as brothers?
That's a
Good
fun question.
question.
Just answer
Yeah.
that, please.
the pro for me is, I mean, no one knows how to communicate with me, and I guess for lack of a better term, no one knows how to check me the way my brother checks me. And kind of vice versa. We know each other's like breaking points and stuff like that. So I think that that's a benefit. It's also the downfall of it. No one knows how to annoy me more than my brothers. So sometimes that's a gift and a curse, right? But yeah, there's we get along. We're best friends. We've always had a great relationship. But yeah, there's some times where he really knows how to kind of grind my gears, and I'm sure he'll say the same thing about me. But the good thing about it is we know when to step away from a certain situation when it's getting a little too, when it escalates a little bit too much.
Yeah, my pro is like, Eric's my best friend. Like we grew up, we're 3 years apart, but we always grew up in like the same circle. So being able to work with him and getting to like travel and see him, that's like the biggest pro. The biggest con, I think, is it's just like how we piss each other off sometimes. But we grew up in a
Sometimes I
family.
do it intentionally, I promise.
Yeah,
You got
Siblings are
to.
always pissing off each other intentionally.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I just don't talk to mine. Some problem solved.
and that's everybody has their own relationships with their siblings. We have 2 step siblings that we consider our blood, our everything. Our stepfather raised us, and so we I don't know, and we come from a huge family. I mean, my mom's one of 12. We're one and 2 of 30 cousins on just my mom's
Wow.
side alone. So
Jesus.
for
Yeah.
us, we were each other's friends growing up. Like we do have friends outside of just the family, but that's what family was to us. So yeah, going back to the family working together, we grew up our parents own an insurance agency in Miami, so they've been working together for 30 something years. So we always saw the dynamic of, in that case, a married couple working together. So we knew we always talked about like, man, this sucks, man. Why are they answering a phone call at 7 o'clock at night while we're eating? Or why are they arguing about this and this and that? And we understand it on a different level, because it's different with siblings, but we always knew what we didn't want to bring from that into the business, and then how we would bring it in our own way, certain elements of just two people partnering for what we're doing. So I think that kind of always stuck in our head growing up like that.
It's really hard to turn it off, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Like the business, I have such a hard time turning that off.
Yeah. No,
Mine never turns off.
Yeah.
Neither does, I don't think any of ours does. At this point, I think Eric's might pivot a lot to Mila and the baby. But yeah, I'll wake up like sweating, and I'm like, oh, why is it 4 a.m? Why am I thinking of this? Or why did I just have a dream about this? I was like, oh. And I'm one of those guys that I remember my dreams, and I dream every night. So I'm always like super tired. I feel like I run a marathon every night, but that's just a completely different thing. So back on topic.
Do you guys find that you like separate your job duties? Like one of you always works in one area, one of you works in other areas, or do you kind of go back and forth and kind of throw everything back and forth?
You know, we try to structure to a certain extent, but you know, obviously with me having a 5-month-old, like Eddie took on a lot more of what the responsibilities were. But there's certain things that I still do, and if I can do it from home, it's great. That's the beauty of technology these days. But we do try to have a structure where we have certain things that I take care of, certain things that he takes care of. But overall, we kind of have our hands in each one of the things, and the different aspects. And the cool thing about us and being able to communicate and being brothers is sometimes we know when he's either overworked, and sometimes he won't say it, but I've known him my whole life, so I know exactly when I can be like, hey, you know what, Eddie, let me pick that up and I'll take care of that specific thing, or vice versa. But yeah, we do try to balance as much as possible, but sometimes things kind of need to just, he'll hop in whenever he needs to, and I'll hop in whenever I need to.
I'm happy
Nice.
as long as he just is handling QuickBooks and I don't have to worry about
QuickBooks sucks.
I fucking hate QuickBooks. According to
It's the
QuickBooks,
worst.
according to QuickBooks, I have like negative $80,000 in my bank account.
and
It's fucking ridiculous, man. I do the same thing. Like whenever I try to do the reconciliation and just look at all this stuff, I'm just like, how does this not add up? Like,
Right? Like,
but they're there's. No, go ahead.
Oh, I
I
was just gonna say. Oh, go ahead. I thought you was talking to me. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, my accountant tells me how fucking easy it is all the time, and I'm just like, bro, this makes no sense. Like, he's like, I can show you, and I'm like, cool, show me, and then he like shares screen and then does all the shit. I'm like, I have no idea what you just did, dude. Like, what the fuck?
You know what that sounds like? That's like you and Claire talking about the steam jacketed kettle to me. I'm like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Just release the pressure. When?
You get it up to 10 psi, and then you just pull a little fucking thing and release pressure for like a second or two, and then you wait for it to get back up to 10 psi, and then when it cools, it'll create a vacuum.
I'm Claire George. I own Butterfly Bakery of Vermont. We make hot sauce, mustard, cookies, and granola, and 100% of our products are made with Vermont ingredients. The thing that I hear most often from people is that my hot sauce tastes like the peppers that are in it. We do really simple recipes that don't get too crazy and nitpicky, just to really accentuate the flavor of the peppers that are in there. The unique thing about our hot sauces is how much we feature the farm and the relationship with the farm, and really bring the terroir of Vermont to our hot sauces. I am pretty sure I am the #1 purchaser of Vermont-grown chili peppers. I would love it if there would be a legitimate pepper market in Vermont where people would know Vermont for its peppers. We're all better for supporting each other. And I think that part really shows itself with the collaborations that I do with the other businesses and the other farms, that I love working together and coming up with new ideas and presenting each other with new challenges. And I think overall that's the attitude here. And I absolutely love it because that's my attitude. I try to live my life with love. The ingredients that I use, I would say that my values are reflected in that, that I use ingredients that, again, feel good, feel loving, feel supportive. The relationship with the farmer was how it all began. If I changed the reason for it being, if I went out and bought some commodity peppers, you know, it might not be as good.
You can find Butterfly Bakery of Vermont hot sauce, mustard, granola, and cookies at butterflybakeryvt.com.
So you guys have a favorite sauce from your lineup? One that you guys personally love, and for what reason?
Yeah, it's different. My personal favorite is gonna be our pineapple habanero ghost pepper sauce. So it's our hottest one, but I just really like what we did with it, where our tag, our motto is Feed Adventure, so we call ourselves Florida's most adventurous hot sauce. So it takes you on an adventure where it starts off with flavor. Habanero starts to burn. That ghost pepper is like 10 seconds, 15 seconds after. So it really helps people kind of just go on that little flavor adventure with one sauce. And it's a very mild sauce for having ghost pepper in it. But it does the trick. We've been able to do what our purpose is, or what we're considering what we want to do with our brand. So we're introducing people to that next level of spice. So people that normally cap out at habanero, this is their sauce to get them trying the ghost pepper so that they know that, okay, it's not as bad as it sounds. People hear ghost and they just freak out. They'll prefer like a reaper over a ghost. Like, you know, they're both scary. And I mean, like, physical ghosts and reapers are scary, not so much the peppers. So, but it's just this like psychological thing that people just hear ghost and like, oh no, I heard of the ghost pepper, but I'll try that Carolina thing. It's like, oh, okay, you guys are silly. But yeah, that's my favorite one.
It happens at it happens at markets all the time. People see Ghost of Saffron and they're like, oh, I don't want it. I'm like, yo, it's not that hot. It's mostly Scotch bonnets, you know?
Yeah.
For me, I would have to say, so the honey mango habanero is my personal favorite. I have a sweet tooth, so I really like the sweetness. And I do like the way the habanero kind of comes in towards the end and just burns a little bit. But the more I build up my tolerance for heat, the more I really like our pineapple one. It's in a very close second for me, but I still have to go with the honey mango habanero as my personal favorite.
Nice.
Which
That
is the
sounds good.
background of the label is the background.
yeah.
Of his. Yeah.
Do you guys
yeah.
have what are we looking at here?
I'm looking at their labels and I see the background of the label for the honey mango habanero is the background for that he's using.
Gotcha. Do you guys have favorite and least favorite sauces from other companies? You are more than welcome to put people on blast, but don't feel required to do so.
Sure. I have it's funny because you guys were interviewing Down to Ferment, and I was listening to it as he says his favorite one. I messaged him, I was like, damn bro, that's what I was gonna say. It's Perro Afortunado is like my favorite like hot sauce I'm gonna say out there. Like there's very few hot sauces that I've reordered. That's one of them. And I know we're not supposed to talk about you guys' sauces, but Ghost of Saffron is the other sauce. And Reaper's Fuzzy Navel are like 3 of 10 sauces that I've actually ever reordered ever. So yeah, that's the one I go to, but I just love it. It's just a nice, easygoing sauce. I know you tried it the other day, right? On a previous episode, Spike. I think is that the one that you brought out?
Oh yeah, no, it's that. My two favorites are that one and Claire's cilantro onion. Both those two are like another class of hot sauce.
Cool.
Yeah.
Least favorite, truff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to get those guys on the podcast so bad.
As a guy with a marketing degree, myself, like, and just brand building, I love what they're doing. They're definitely taking over very quickly. I mean, they just got they just partnered with Kim Kardashian. Like I think she's part owner of the business now.
Yeah, she bought
Um,
shares in it or something
so
like that.
but
Huh.
maybe it's because I don't like truffle flavored stuff or what. So but I tried it the other day. Finally, I was like, okay, let me finally and I was like, no, no. So
I like how he said truffle flavored stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't say he doesn't like truffles. He doesn't like truffle flavored stuff.
Made with truffle oil.
It is truffle
Truffle
oil and essence of truffle.
yeah.
I have so much trouble with truffle oil. I actually like
Yeah.
truffles, but truffle oil just like sits on top and it like coats your tongue, and then you end up tasting it for like days afterward. Like
Oh.
initially it can be good and you're like, oh, I like that, and then you walk away and you're like, now I've moved on and I'm eating other food, and it just is stuck there. And yeah,
At
like
one of our
lingers.
restaurants, we used to have to do truffle fries, and they were just awful. Because it's like, to me, truffle oil often hasn't seen a truffle, is a lot like liquid smoke. You can get good truffle oil, but in most cases, it tastes like chemicals.
yeah, I've even had good truffle like hot sauces where the initial bite, the enjoyment of the hot sauce, it's there. I like that truffle hot sauce. And then I walk away and I cannot get rid of that flavor. It just won't go away.
And I feel that way with just anything truffle. Like the truffle fries is huge, right? Like everybody likes the truffle fry, and I can't. I'll have it has to be very little, because just a little goes a long way.
Yeah.
With that, it's just like horseradish stuff. Like I just can't stand anything. I'll pick up. Just
I
like,
love horseradish.
Yeah.
Yeah, prime rib.
It's funny because at a recent festival, I tried something and I was like, wow, there's something in there. I can't make it out. And it was a really good sauce. And they're like, yeah, it's horseradish. I was like, okay, interesting, because I typically don't like it, but they just used the right amount for my palate, and that's the beauty of this. We're all different. We all have different taste palettes.
Yeah.
Someone's going to love my stuff. Someone's going to hate my stuff. Someone's going to love truffle. And I know a lot of people really do love it. It's just not for my taste palette. So,
But do they, or do they just have a killer marketing plan?
It's funny because we've been talking about like different flavors that we don't like, and I've never liked capers, but one of my personal favorite sauces is our buddy Sam from Sam's Sauce. He from Minnesota. He does what he calls chimchar, so it's kind of his take on like a chimichurri, but he does it with charred serranos. And the flavor that I love that comes out of it, he also uses capers to kind of like salt it up a little bit more. And it just gives it the caper with a little bit of lemon just gives it such a fresh taste. And I really don't like capers, but I love that sauce. And the other one would have to be, so they used to be known as Florida Man Hot Sauce, but now they are called Redacted. Is that what it is, Eddie?
Yeah,
as of today, they changed the name to Redacted.
Yeah, they changed the name, and they make a guava scotch bonnet that's just fucking badass, man. It's yeah, I love that sauce. That's one of them that I've ordered multiple times, and I've been on this scotch bonnet kick for probably the last few months, just because I really want to put that in one of our sauces. I just love the flavor behind it and that spice level that it gives. But yeah, their sauce is really good too. The guava scotch bonnet.
Does that mean there's
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm working on one with Scotch bonnet and ghost. I kind of am like focused in on both those flavors right now.
We
Does that
just
mean-
got our first Scotch bonnets this past growing season, but the farm that was growing it kind of didn't know what they were doing, and we got sent what on the invoice was called Scotch bonnet habaneros, and I was like, okay. And we were sent a bunch of different things, and I was like, well, I'm just going to try to identify them out of this giant mixed bag, these Scotch bonnet habaneros.
Yeah, I think some grocery stores actually have that. Like, if you go on the description, they just consider them the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
your
And
average
they're
consumer
not
probably
at
will
all.
consider them the same thing and not see the difference. But yeah, but
Well, I
there's-
remember growing up in California, poblanos were always called pasillas out in California. And I don't know if that's still the case, but that was definitely the case when I was growing up, that on the store shelf, they would be called pasillas, but they were poblanos. And here they're called anchos, actually,
Yeah.
at our farmer's market and everything. Everybody calls them anchos,
Well,
which
the
is the dry
ancho,
poblano.
yeah, the ancho is
Yeah.
supposed to be the dry poblano.
yeah.
Right.
But yeah, the pasilla pepper is actually supposed to be a different pepper, but I've
Yeah.
noticed
It is.
that picking up poblanos recently. They're called pasilla, and I'm like, that's not right. What the fuck are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Different shape. Yeah. Color.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's like the difference between a Fresno and a red jalapeno. They look very similar, but they're not the same thing.
They're not
Yeah.
the same. No.
My photographer, I love my photographer and he's great, but I wasn't with him when he was taking the pictures and he grabbed different peppers than he should have been using. And so my picture of, and it's like my favorite picture is our Vermont Habs bottle, and he's like dropped chili peppers over it. So they're like flying through it. It's a great picture. And they're Fresno peppers. And I'm like, I know that most of the world is not going to recognize it.
Yeah.
No.
It's fine. It's fine.
But I
It's
totally
fine.
understand going through your mind, because I'm like, Eric, this is not the right. He's like, no one's gonna know. I was like, but he's like, no one's gonna know. Like, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful picture. And I use the heck out of it because it's my favorite picture. But yeah, wrong
Nice.
peppers.
I got a question for you guys. Do you guys have a favorite pepper?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Do you want me to, it's Claire, you go first.
I'm boring. I like red jalapenos. I just, especially we're in Vermont, just certain varieties grow better, and then we're also picky about the varieties we get because they prep better, taste better, etc. And so we get a mix of varieties of red jalapenos, and they're not the supermarket, they're not early jalapenos, which don't turn red that well or that easily.
Yeah.
So we get like El Jefes and Jalafuegos and a few other varieties like that, and they're sweet and they're versatile, and they just go on everything, and I love them.
Nice.
Yeah, I like habanero is I think the perfect pepper. But Ghost is very close behind.
I'm a chocolate bula ghost pepper fan personally.
I agree with the habanero, like habanero, and then kind of starting to enjoy a lot more the ghost, but that's where I like to be also with when I'm enjoying something spicy, but I just like the flavor of it. Now it's funny, like Eric says, like we can now taste the flavor in the peppers rather than just like the heat. But yeah.
I really
Awesome.
enjoy the floweriness of a ghost pepper. Like I feel like it's really fun to play with that. Like we do a elderflower ghost with elderflower rum, and so it's really flowery in the front, and then it just wallops you.
You caught
Yeah, that
Eric's
sounds
attention
delicious.
there.
Yeah, it's
Really
great.
good.
All right, so Desert Island hot sauce. So let me read the scenario for you, just so that the people listening can understand it. The idea behind this is to find the hot sauce with the widest breadth. It's not the scenario is just a model to help you find that. You were on an ocean liner and it crashed or it sunk, and you're the only survivor. You're on an island. All right. Stuff from the ship washes ashore all the time. All kinds of crazy, different, wonderful foods wash up regularly, but only one pallet of hot sauce was on the ship. It washes ashore. If you want to pick a couple of different kinds that you hope it would be, that's fine, but it can't be yours. Can't be one of ours. Or it can't be yours. It's fine if it's one of ours.
Close to saffron. No, just kidding. But yeah, it's on my top 10. But for me, I'd probably go back to that Perro Afortunado. But another one that I like that I feel just kind of works with so many things that I eat is from Hotter Than Hell. So the Gator Jakes. So it's just a nice like cayenne pepper sauce. It's easy going. And I could just put it on so many things. So I really like that sauce a lot.
Is that his Louisiana style one?
Yeah. That one
Okay,
has
yeah,
like
I
a
really
gator
like
on
that
it.
sauce
It's like
too.
Mardi Gras,
Yeah.
I believe. I know.
It's a really good sauce.
Yeah, that's I like that one. I like a lot of things that Dino makes too. So, but he has a wide range of sauces as well. You guys all have like such a wide range of sauces too. So
I'm
Like
reducing
yeah,
my
you're not
line.
so much.
You
Yeah.
just can't. You can't change. Yeah, that's right. You're getting rid of them, right, Zach? Getting rid of some?
Man, I don't want to admit this, but I think I'm gonna have to go co-packer after the first of the year.
Yep.
I have to. Like I've hit this point where I can't like grow.
Yeah.
I'm a goldfish right now. I'm limited by my environment. I can't grow anymore because of the stupid shared kitchen space, and I can't afford to build out like my own spot because it's stupid expensive. Like $250,000 that I don't fucking have, and small business loans aren't really for fucking small business because, you know, I'm not making $1 million a year, so they don't want to give me any money. And I'm like, well, but I could be. If you just give me this fucking money, I can make that $1 million. But, you know.
Well, and Zach, if you feel like it's difficult to like make to jump to a co-packer, you can also, and we've had clients who will like continue making some of their smaller batch stuff and send their big productions, like their most popular sauces, and you know, do those in large runs, and then they still make their small stuff in their own facility.
But I think what I'm gonna do is anything fire roasted, because right now I'm fire roasting everything on a 24-inch charbroiler, and it's a fucking lot, dude. Like doing a 40-gallon kettle of Ghost of Saffron, fire roasted 36 fucking pounds of carrots. You know what I mean? It's like,
Jeez.
it doesn't sound like a lot, but you only have so much space. So I mean, it took me like fucking 2.5 hours to do that, you know? So I think I'm just gonna like shit all my fire roasted shit. I think I'm gonna have them do, or maybe they can make me some fire roasted mash. Like, I don't know anybody that's been
Are there any fire roasted like IQF products out there that, like, I know, Claire, that you're a co-packer, like, do you use anything like that? Like, what would you kind of go with?
I don't know of anything fire roasted out there. However, we have a co-pack client who works with a company, and then we've started to kind of be poking around them and see what they can do. And they do seem to have a lot of capabilities to produce puree for us. So it's frozen puree, and they can do and like I said, I don't know if they do fire roasted, but they do roasted. And they do roasted. Like you know, chunky, and then they do finer, and they can do a wide range of things. They seem to have a lot of vegetable processing capabilities, and then they ship it all. And I think it's coming from the West too. And then they ship it all frozen. And so, yeah, I'm really like curious about that, because, you know, Butterfly Bakery works in a very specific way with our farms and all of that. But whenever we have new co-pack clients come to us, and I want them to make sure to understand the difficulties that come from working that way, and that there are a lot of conveniences that come from working with pre-processed ingredients.
Yeah. Cisco does have, and I'm sure, I know who you guys use for a co-packer. I'm sure he has a connection. Well, I know for a fact he has a connection for fire roasted mash. But Cisco does have IQF frozen products, but you're talking $74 for 14 pounds of fire roasted poblanos, and that just doesn't make sense.
Zach, I'll send you the information on this company, and then another one that we've gotten some roasted ingredients from before, just so you can see if they do anything that would work for you.
I mean, if I get the guys, my boys in California, to do it, they're gonna do it the way I want it done, because we are the shit. You know what I mean? Like or I should say, I fire roast the fuck out of everything.
But just, you know, I know how you said like that you hate to admit it, like I wouldn't look at it like that, you know. But like Claire said, like get those, or like you said, and it's been an idea we have as we get to a point that some of our easier to make sauces that are like our most popular ones, we continue using with the co-packer. And then when we get to the point that we can bring in our own facility, we'll work on those smaller ones. But when you build the right relationship, I've used 4 co-packers. And I've had a great experience with all 4 of the ones I use. We currently have 2 active ones. So, you know, there's the horror stories out there, but, you know, the other, we're blessed, I guess, that we haven't hit those. And I know in Florida, there's a ton of co-packers, and some of our other buddies are like, oh, I use so-and-so, and now they're out of business. Or I use this and this. And, you know, I've even been at markets where another co-packer comes up, like, hey, you still using so-and-so? Oh, here's my card again. I'll beat their price. And I was like, well, there's a reason we didn't go with you in the first place. You know, it's not about the price. If it was about the price, there's other options for that. It's like, do you have the capability to make things the way I want it made? And luckily the 2 co-packers we use do. So yeah, that's my thing. And then I guess we get to Eric's desert islands.
Yeah, I was gonna say we kind of got off
on the island with no hot sauce.
Yeah, fuck, man.
Oh, yeah, man, that truff is really coming in. No, I'm just kidding.
How's that canned ham with no hot sauce?
Disgusting. You know what? I'm probably, and I hate to revert to the sauce that I said previously, but that that guava scotch bonnet by redacted sauce is just I put that shit on everything, man. It really is that good. And it's funny because every time I see them at an event, I think they think that I'm lying to them on how much I like it, but no, I am mildly obsessed with that sauce.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what in the hot sauce world inspires you guys? What and who?
The people.
People, yeah.
Like
No,
who
seriously,
inspires you?
So when we first came into this the whole hot sauce world, and I think my first experience with really meeting people who were like hardcore chili fans was when we went to the Fiery Food Show in New Mexico. And I met some really cool people, but just their passion, not only for what they do and how they craft their sauces, but the way that they kind of hype each other up. Like, everybody sees it from the outside in and they're like, oh, that's your competition. Oh, that, you got to be better than that person. But you learn real quick that that's not what it's like. Everybody really hypes each other up. The way I see it is if you're making a good sauce in Arizona or Vermont, that's just good for the industry as a whole. But I think that was one of the coolest things, and the way people bounce back ideas off of each other. Like right now, we're talking about different ways of creating your sauces, different peppers that we like, different things that I had no clue about. So just way people bounce ideas of like flavor profiles that they're working with, or different, hey, I tried out this thing, it didn't work for me, so maybe you should try to do this. And just the community itself inspires me. I don't know if that's where you were trying to go with the conversation, but that's the first thing that came to mind for me.
Well, and at Butterfly Bakery, we do a lot of different things, like besides hot sauce. But there's no goat's milk caramel community. There's no like vegan baked goods community. There's no mustard community even. I have looked for a mustard community and there's not a mustard community. But the hot sauce community is, multitudes. Like I love the hot sauce community. It's really a fun place to be.
Claire, have you ever talked to the hot sauce queen?
The hot sauce queen?
Sorry, not the hot sauce queen, the mustard queen.
The mustard queen, yeah.
Yeah,
the mustard queen. I know the vanilla queen. I don't think I know the mustard queen.
And I've chatted with her we've talked about making a hot sauce, and I think I dropped the ball on that actually. But a lady called the mustard queen on TikTok and on Reels, and she knows a lot about mustard, and she's awesome.
Awesome.
She's a great lady. She lives in Tennessee.
Is that her handle for real? Like the mustard queen?
Yeah. Yeah, her handle on Reels is ketchup is garbage.
Well, the thing about mustard, I mean, I don't know if you guys make any mustards, but like I feel like the what I have found myself saying often is making hot sauce feels empowering, making mustard feels humbling. Like it is just mustard. When I first started making mustard, I treated it like any other ingredient, like a pepper, like whatever. And really, it's more like a chemical. It's more like baking powder or baking soda. And it acts, if you heat it up faster one day than another day, then the flavor of the mustard is going to be totally different. If you, I had what I refer to as the year of bad mustard. It was like 2017, I think, something like that. And for an entire year, every batch, not actually, that was the hard part. It wasn't every single batch. It was like 2/3 of my batches of mustard were really bitter. And I could not figure out why. Because generally when mustard's really hot, like when you've just made it, it's very bitter and it takes like 2 weeks to mellow out. And it just wouldn't mellow out. It would just stay really bitter and really just awful. And I was ready to give up and stop making mustard. And then when I had an epiphany. I think somebody was talking about something totally different. And I just, all of a sudden, light bulb went off in my head and I realized what it was. Well, 2 out of the 3 pots that I was making mustard in were aluminum. The other one was stainless steel.
Okay.
And I could make hot sauce, even vinegary hot sauce in the aluminum ones. I mean, there were aluminum cooking pots, but mustard is so reactive that it just like locked in that mustard bitterness. And it just, oh God, it was so awful. And I just changed out the pots, no problem. And everything was great. And it just is, mustard will it'll constantly throw me curveballs. It'll constantly, I don't know. I want to make more mustard and learn more about mustard, but there isn't this like mustard community the way there is this hot sauce community.
I'm going to connect you with her.
Eric.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. I'm always excited about meeting other mustard people.
Oh, she is
That's-
like an encyclopedia. She's amazing. Yeah.
That's great. I love encyclopedias.
I
Sorry.
need to
yourself
dive into
are an
this a little bit
encyclopedia.
more.
I know Eric's
Just-
been wanting to, that's one of his things is like, we gotta get a mustard, and anything my brother says now, I have full confidence and trust that whatever he's gonna throw at me is gonna be the right thing, because he's the one who came up, is like, hey, we gotta make this barbecue sauce. And I was like, I'm not a big fan of barbecue. And I was like, look, I'll tell you what, if you make a barbecue sauce that I like, and that's always the thing, is if I have to like it, he has to like it, or else we don't do it, and he created this. He's like, I have an idea of this Florida style. It's going to be citrus based, and we're going to use the dattle pepper because dattle peppers is huge in Florida, and we're gonna make it. And I was like, okay, go. If I like it, I'll eat it, and we'll make it. And we launched it on the 4th of July, and we just got 2 Scobies for it. We got a Screaming Mimi first place. So we got 3 first place awards in it. It's a really great sauce. People love it. We actually have less than 1 case of it left. We actually have a production run tomorrow. So it's right on time for the holidays. But when he said mustard, I was like, if you figure out how to make the mustard, let's do it. Like, let's expand that condiment line as well. And hopefully, like, my goal is to launch 2 more hot sauces next year. And then if we could launch either another barbecue sauce or that mustard, that'd be good. But now Eric knows to follow ketchup is garbage, which I personally don't like ketchup. Actually, and that's what I found out about barbecue sauces. As I go down the line, I don't like barbecue sauces that are ketchup based, and the ones that have like tomato paste, I like. So kind of identified that during the R&D process of making this sauce. So, and then you could also bounce things off of Claire, Eric. So we'll get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love talking ingredients and flavors and ideas and all of
Don't
that.
don't let her bullshit you. She does not like talking to anybody outside.
They had to fight me. They blackmailed me to get me to show up here. So
No.
Yeah, it's funny because my brother and I, we have zero culinary experience. Like, for us, the way we learned how to cook was in the kitchen with mom, again, being in that Hispanic household. Grandma, abuela was in the office. Now it's an office, but in the kitchen, cooking things up. And I always grew a love for barbecuing and like grilling and smoking. So barbecue sauce and mustards have always been those things that I've really enjoyed to use when I grill and cook. So one thing that me and Eddie always do is, we bounce ideas off of each other. And like, if we're making a sauce, if he doesn't like it, or if I don't agree, we don't make it. But our styles are completely different. So when one of us says, okay, I do like that, then we go full throttle with that specific sauce. But I just went off on a tangent, but
You're good.
It's one of
man.
those
That was a
pros
good I like
Yeah.
that.
That's one of those pros going back to working with each other. That's definitely a pro, is the bouncing things off and having the 2 perspectives come into an agreement, like, okay, we got something here. Cool.
Do you guys have any hot sauce hot takes? These are typically opinions that are not necessary. Spike, come on, man. Why? Why? I don't have any fucking teas. I can't
you can drop
You
the
know?
word not shared, not always shared. There you
I
go.
know.
The hot takes.
Yeah. Do you have any hot sauce hot takes, like opinions that you feel strongly about that the rest of the community may not? Share.
Not so much when it comes to the specific hot sauces. Like you
Doesn't it-
guys,
doesn't
in the
have to be a
world of
hot sauce. Doesn't
What?
have to be a hot sauce. It doesn't have
No,
to
and
be a
yeah.
hot
So my hot
sauce.
takes are just in regards more to like, I guess people, and the way they treat us, and certain things like. So I'll just say, like, this might come off mean, but it's my thing, right? It's like
Be me, man. It's all
reviewer.
good.
Reviewers, enthusiasts, although they generate so much greatness for us, there's people that just start making things up and they're like, hey, I'm a hot sauce reviewer, and they just want a bunch of free stuff without showcasing, the people who have been the biggest help to us as a reviewer, as what are they? Not celebrities, but
influencers. No.
influencers, never asked us for anything. Now, I'm all for helping someone grow, right? If you're saying like, this is what I want to do, let's work something out. Cover the shipping, do something. So I started, I was getting all these things. And at the beginning, it's like, oh, someone wants, cool. I'll send them something. Nothing got made. Videos didn't get made. So I'm like, oh, I just sent something to someone for them to enjoy and not, do anything for us, right? So it got to the point that I said, hey, you want to do something? Well, here's a 50% discount code just for you, one-time use. Go and order whatever you want. But you save. I help you kind of start building your inventory for what you want to do, and I want to support you and repost your stuff. I'm big on social media. I love social media. If you've seen my stuff, I create all our content. I edit all our content. I sleep on Instagram. I love it. I love what it does for the community. If you use social media the right way, it's super beneficial.
I agree.
So, I'm on there talking to people constantly. I've had 2 out of the 10 people that have asked me for stuff actually use the coupon code, actually create content. I've physically met one of them at one of the expos. I went to all the expos this year from New England to Portland. I traveled the whole country. I put 33,000 miles. So I've physically gotten to meet some of these people. And
I'll be right back.
yeah. Oh, look how he just disappeared into his logo. It was magical.
Imagine if the logo was the desert and he would have just
He
disappeared
just
out
walked off
the
into the desert. But yeah, that's my hot take, like, again, whoever's listening, I'm not putting you guys down or anything. Like, we've had, like, when I first sent stuff to, let's say, Brian Ames, right? That connection was done through For the Love of Hot Sauce. Someone said my stuff, someone sent it to him like, hey, you should try this. I saw the message, so I just said, hey man, I'm Stanky, it's nice to meet you. If you ever want to try my stuff, just let me know. Like, I'm not big of like, here, throw stuff at people. So yeah, send it over. And we were just featured last week on his top 7 hot sauces of the year.
I saw that.
I physically met
Nice.
him. He hung out in my booth in Jungle Gyms when we went for what's that called?
Weekend of Fire. No.
Weekend of Fire, yeah.
Weekend of Fire, yeah.
So it's funny because I had the iPad out showing him going through the review. I'm like, oh, in Cincinnati, people know who he is. Let me just put this out on the table as he's just like raving about our stuff. So this girl's up there and Brian is in my booth with me. And so she's looking, as she's tasting the sauce, she's like looking down at the video and she looks up at him and she's like, is that you? And he's like, yeah, that's me. But he's one guy, like, when he did the review, we made more sales in 36 hours than we did in the previous 4 months combined.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Nice. Wow.
That
Wow.
and it wasn't something, it was just like, again, not everybody has the following that he has.
Yeah.
Johnny Scoville's another one. He reviewed our stuff the first time. We got a ton of sales. I was actually at the Grand Canyon with my parents doing a tour, and my phone just kept on going off and people are like, what's going on? I was like, I have no idea. So I finally looked. I was like, I just got a bunch of orders. No clue. Then I go back home and find out that he just did a review on our honey mango habanero. So people were going crazy for it. But other people, they just ask us for stuff and I keep on talking about this. They don't do anything with it. And there's people who do, and they're building their stuff, and I'm all for supporting them. If I see them physically grinding, hustling to build their platform for reviews, I'm going to help you out as much as I can as well. So
Yeah.
sorry for my rant.
Oh, no, you know what? If somebody doesn't actually, now sometimes like Zach sent Brian our sauce, and that was a really nice thing, Zach. I told you thank you before, but thank you very much, because Brian reviewed them and it was really nice but generally, if somebody doesn't go out of their way to try and get the sauce on the up and up, instead of trying to just get free sauce and out of our pockets, then it's not an unbiased review. And so it doesn't count. So what I do, I have a discount code too. It's called Not a Real Review 50. And that's the code I give them. Sure, I've got a code just for you. Here you go. Not a Real Review 50. It's a 1% discount.
Okay.
It says
That's
50 on
funny.
there just to sound funny, but it's actually just a 1% discount. And I know that sounds, I mean, it seems kind of rough, but you said 2 out of 10 people, you know, that's a lot of money to be thrown out there to not get in very much back.
Mhm.
And sometimes I choose to just send sauces to somebody. I see
Yeah.
them working hard on a lady the other day. I saw her reviews and I was like, I really like her reviews. I
Yeah.
booked her for our podcast and I sent her hot sauce. And she just seemed like a really nice lady who genuinely enjoyed hot sauce and didn't
Yes.
ask me for anything.
What's her name again?
I don't remember. On the no,
Is she in New York? I think I know who you're talking about.
yeah, the lady.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Really nice
Yes,
lady.
she's
Just-
so awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's the person I think of as well, who I think is awesome because she's in New York as well.
I feel bad that I
Yeah.
forgot her name. I'm blanking because you confronted me at the last.
Yeah, we got to meet some people in New York. That was a lot of fun for the New York Hot Sauce Expo. So it's always good to see them from the video. You know, I know you had Katie B on. I think she was the first interview you guys did, right? The first
Yeah.
podcast.
Yes.
And I love her. So Spike, I've never tried any of your stuff, and I will, because I've always wanted, and I just see her reviews. She just loves your stuff, and I know your stuff is good without having tasted, because I know where her profile, like her flavor profile is.
Yeah.
And she's someone that I trust. You know, if she says something's good, I know it's good.
Well,
I
that's
know she's
another
not-
one.
Yeah.
Roger Damps from
Oh, love Roger. Yeah.
yeah, he sent our sauce to her. That's how that thing happens. She's great. I love Katie.
Yeah,
And we should trade sauces, by the way.
Huh?
We should trade
Oh
sauces.
yeah.
I've not
I'm
had
down.
yours either, so I'd love to have it.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Do a little we could do a little side by side clip for like Instagram where we're trying to at the same time, like,
Oh, that'd
I'll
be
try
great.
yours and
Yeah.
you try mine or something.
Yeah.
And Claire, funny thing about, so like the first time I tried your sauce,
Yeah.
I was in Boston area. So I was in New England area on my cross country journey this summer. And I stopped in at the House of Hot Sauce and More, so Big Rich's shop
Oh yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
And someone walked into the store and I had my little booth and they're trying all our sauces. And they're like, this is good, but I'm looking for something hot. And I'm looking for something that go good on tacos. And I was like, I've never tried it, but I know this one's good, right?
Yeah.
So we went over and I sold 2 of your sauces, the taco button sauce. I sold 2 of your sauces there. They took
That's
a bottle
awesome.
of, like,
Thank you. Thank
sauce in 2
you.
of your bottles. Were you still on Hot Ones at that point?
No.
Not if it was being sold in the store, no, because we can't.
Because I know
we
I've
can't
been
sell
in
it
some stores that like they just happen to have the sauce in stock. Because I know sometimes that's the case
Yeah.
with like Dino over at Spice is Nice here in Sanford. Something goes on and then he's like, oh, I just happen to have 2 cases of it
Yeah.
in stock while it's
Like
on.
I know we did we co-packed Spicy Shark and Alchemy, and they were both
Yeah.
on season 21 of Hot Ones.
Okay.
And they and the sauces that were on season 21, they had already debuted to the public. They were new sauces,
Yeah.
but they had already released them to the public.
So that
and
must
then-
have been it. Mako
yeah.
Snake?
Yeah. Yep.
Mako Snake. Because I also sold like 2 bottles of Mako Snake there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, man, Big Rich, you know, you got
And everybody's sauces.
Where's the commission, man? Where's the
But
commission?
if I could sell someone else's sauce, if you don't want my sauce, you better be walking out with someone else's sauce when I do these pop-ups.
That's
So,
awesome.
That is
So you're
great.
you're clearly the sales guy.
Yeah.
yeah, I love selling stuff. If I have a passion for it, I like selling it. When I was a pharmaceutical sales rep, not so much, but I found my median, like where I knew that what I was doing was good. And if it didn't feel right to me, I backed out of like that specific sale or anything. I was like, no, I'm not even touching this. COVID and PPE stuff was just like a nightmare.
Oof.
We even
Yeah.
stopped and we said, we had a team meeting, like, we're not going to touch this stuff because how could I justify charging, you know, a hospital $250 for a pack of 10 face masks? Like, no, sorry.
Yeah.
Not
Thank
my,
you. Thank
not
you.
my thing. So, but I'll sell them a 12-pack of hot sauce if they want, you know? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
By the
one
way-
thing about Eddie
Oh, go ahead.
is in like middle school, he would take a duffel bag of like candy, and in the middle of school, he would just start hustling candy like in between classes. He would be in like the bathroom selling Skittles and Airheads and stuff like that. And in high school, he would make sandwiches, and he would be selling sandwiches in between each class too. So he's always been the salesperson for sure.
Yeah, that was one of my.
That's amazing.
And then our one of our first gigs together was because we grew up on a golf course in Miami.
Oh yeah.
So we grew up. It was a par 3, it was like the second hole, but the hole was about 30 feet from our backyard. So just a little bit of wind would bring the balls in to our yard. So as kids, we just sold golfers back their golf ball. So
That's
in the late 90s, a quarter for a kid was huge. So we'd sell golfers for a quarter, you know, and if you want 5 for $1. And I don't think I've ever bought a golf ball in my life. And Eric probably the same, because
No, I'm bad at golf, so I've had
thousands
to buy a few.
and thousands and thousands of golf balls throughout our life just fall into our backyard, into our pool. We've had windows broken on our cars because the golf balls, like, you know, so but yeah, that was one of our first businesses. And then of course when I sold the Starburst and the Skittles, they called me a Starburst kid. And then the sandwiches in high school. So always just selling something. Yeah.
That's great.
You could have
That's
made a lot
awesome.
more money with drugs. You know that, right?
Well, that's how I started this business. So
By the way, I wanted to say the lady I was talking about, her name's Amanda. It occurred to
Yeah.
me as we were talking. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
I lo-
really, really nice.
she's great. Yeah. So she going back, she's one of the people who reached out to me, and she's like, I'm not looking for something like anything for free, but I just want I want your opinion. I'm gonna buy 2 sauces. What's your opinion
Yeah.
on what I should review? And I was like, here's a code. She ended up buying them, and I think I ended up sending her one of each. You know, we only had 4 flavors at that time. And then we met her in New York. So
Yeah, she was cool.
super cool, you know. But those are the people who are, and you could see that like they really love doing it, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
I sent her a case of Ghost of Saffron for her wedding.
Yeah,
Oh,
'cause she just got
that's
married.
awesome.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, dude.
She's
Yeah.
like, "Let me pay you." I'm like, "You're getting fucking married. Don't just
Yeah.
enjoy it." Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Just
All
kidding,
right.
just kidding.
Hot
Kinda.
sauce show and tell. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Who's starting?
What y'all got?
Let's
The-
start
the
with
guest.
Eric.
You
You
want
have
us to go
a
first?
hot sauce. Yeah, absolutely. Guests go first.
All right. So I actually have one in front of me. I guess I'll
Okay.
use that one, but I want to do something cool. If you guys don't mind.
Let me
Actually,
go
I'll let
get one
Eric
from the
go
fridge real
first.
quick.
I'll do this first. So I have a container with about 120 sauces behind me that are just from all my travels of trading at the shows. So I'd like to talk about the one I'm currently eating. Just had it on my Chipotle, and then I'd like to pull one out of that box randomly and try it for you guys here.
Sounds
So-
great.
That sounds
All
great.
right. So the first one, let me come on, mouse. My mouse decided to not work. There we go. Because I'm gonna unblur my background. So there's my little office here. So Yellowbird, the
yeah.
Plum Reaper hot sauce. So funny story about this is the first time I ever had Yellowbird was actually when they were on Hot Ones. I bought the whole pack, and along with Eric and my dad and my cousin, we went down the whole line. And the one they had on the show, I did not like at all. So it's unfortunately that I'm one of those guys that I tried one that I didn't like and then never gave them a chance. Last month when we were in Tennessee, I just went up to their booth. I'm like, let's go through it. You know, I'm gonna try them all. And then I was like, okay, yes, I want this one. I got them all. But this is the one I've been using. So I like it. I like the way it pours out. I like that it's a Reaper sauce, but it doesn't like destroy my palate. But I never thought the plum, you know, you gotta love people just putting stuff in there. But yeah, it's a great sauce. It has great flavor. I actually had it on my Chipotle. I pour it all over my sandwiches too. So but this is like the sauce that I'm currently eating right now. Once I'm done with that, I'll just pull another one out of that box. But I'll get one going right now once Eric shows off his.
Do you remember which one was on Hot Ones that you didn't?
Hitchhiker or something another.
Okay. I'm just a fan of the regular habanero, man. Remember tasting that, and it actually inspired one of our sauces.
The red one, right? Just the.
The carrot habanero.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was one of their first big one, I think.
Hitchhiker.
Yeah, I haven't had that one.
That must
What's
have been
it
an
called?
early season. I don't remember that.
No,
God.
I,
Listen,
I,
vinegar, garlic, shiitake.
yeah, the bliss and vinegar was on fucking Hot Ones.
Habanero. This was wait.
The bliss
The
and
bliss and
vinegar.
vinegar. That's the one.
I think so.
Okay, yeah, I think so. So you go over there. But yeah, the other ones are good. Like there's Serrano, and then
Yeah.
the one that has agave
Yeah.
in it is really good too. So
See, I didn't care for the agave one, but I've got a thing with agave. I don't care for it.
damn
Eddie,
man,
don't send him the agave one.
No. I'm just gonna send them a whole case of our agave jalapeno.
Don't. So here's the thing, and Zach can attest to this. I like it when somebody can change that. So just
Yeah.
because I say I don't like something, I don't like strawberries. Zach sent me which one was
La
it, Zach?
La
La
Pistola.
Pistola, and I loved it. So and sometimes I do that to myself. Or we got the pineapple, mango, and banana jerk, and I hate banana. I don't care for my mango that much. It's okay. And then I ate it and I loved it. So as if I
But
can
he's
do
not
that
a
to
picky eater. All right, who's got sauce? Who's showing sauce?
yeah. Oh, he's gonna grab one out, right?
Oh well, let Eric do his, and I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
roll this
Yeah,
part out.
we're waiting on Eric, I guess.
All right. So I got three that I've been really using. So the one that I've mentioned a couple times is that Florida Man, the guava scotch bonnet, and I gotta re-up. You can't really see it. Let me take off this damn background because you can't see too much on this with the background on. There I am. Boom. So the other company that I like is Hologi. They're based out of South Dakota. And this one's called Freya's Chariot. It's real mild, real light. My wife really likes it too. She doesn't have a huge spice tolerance, but I'm helping her kind of build it up. And this is a really good one. Sometimes we just use it as a vinaigrette on salad, and it's phenomenal. Eddie, which one's the one by Hologi? The one with the purple label, their limited run. Do you remember which one it was? Yeah, I forget the name. I love that sauce. Going back to one of the other questions, that sauce is phenomenal. They only do it in a limited run, but yeah, that's the
That
one.
one is awesome.
Uh,
Gunless Gold.
Oh, I don't know.
Gunless
that.
Gold. Yeah.
I don't
That is
think
a
I've tried that one.
phenomenal sauce.
Nick makes
I went
great
through that one.
sauces.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I went through that in about like 2 weeks, and that's very rare for me to go through a sauce like that. But another one by Redacted Sauce is a strawberry habanero with datil pepper that they do, and I've been using that one pretty frequently.
Maybe showing that on camera was not a good idea just because of everything that's going on.
Ah,
Yeah,
What's that?
I haven't gotten their new sauce yet. Their new label.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So he had to rebrand his product because there was already another company with a very similar name, and there was the whole thing. So the Florida
Oh.
Man is now Redacted Sauce. So
I see.
yeah,
They're-
Which-
They're out of like Tampa area.
Yeah.
Super cool guys. And they make really, I think out of their entire lineup, there's maybe one in there that I was like, but the rest of them were just killer sauces.
Awesome.
yeah. You were on their podcast last week or something.
Well, we're on there. So that's someone else that's over in Jacksonville. The owners of Delightfully Hot. So they interviewed them first, and then they interviewed us. And they're starting off with a lot of the hot sauce makers in the Southeast region. And their whole goal is to interview the makers of all the sauces that they carry on their online shop.
Well, that's awesome.
So
Yeah.
they have a really cool setup. I think episode 2 of our interview comes up in like tomorrow or Tuesday. But it was a lot of fun shooting that. But us and Redacted, and then there's another one called Intensity Academy. So you can find all 3 of our hot sauces at the University of South Florida and all their dining facilities and like the gift shops around the campus that are like for the students that live on campus. So they were looking for like local hot sauces. So they picked the 3 of our brands to be in there. So like students, now we have our presence in the Tampa area, and it's really cool. So I got, we chat a lot with them. But we've become good friends with them and travel to a few events with them as well. So
That's awesome.
but you want me to pull one out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
All right, let's see. All right.
That's quite a bin.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say clearly he doesn't get reduced to one shelf.
Right.
Well, these are all unopened, I think is what he's saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
these are all open. There's 2 layers of sauces. So I'm just gonna pick one out of the top. So I'm gonna go. Oh, this is a good one. Sway sauce. I think they're out of Georgia. Yeah, Atlanta, Georgia. So we met them at the Atlanta Hot Sauce Festival back in September. And this was like their first time going with a co-packer. So they were like one of those companies that had a bunch of different recipes, but they had to choose one to start off with the co-packing. And this is the recipe that they tried, that they went with. Got my little spoon here. So if you don't mind, I'll just kind of like go off the ingredient list here. So white vinegar, water, habaneros, yellow onions, white onions, salt, jalapeno pepper, Thai chili pepper, finger peppers, serranos, and turmeric. So I remember liking. I remembered liking this a lot. So picked that one up. It's just an easygoing sauce. It's not like overwhelmingly hot, a little salty, but it's nice, kind of just medium. Medium for me. I think most people who have no tolerance would probably be running for water or cover right now. And you get that little bit I like anything that has a little bit of turmeric in it. It doesn't like overwhelm it. But yeah, just a nice sauce. I don't really kind of pick up on the Thai chili, but I also know that if I open a fresh bottle like tomorrow, it's gonna taste different. It's probably gonna be like full flavor mode tomorrow. But yeah, nice habanero blend here, and enjoy the vibrant flavors of Panamanian inspired hot sauces. So and really cool owners. The show didn't do too well, but everybody that was there was really cool. So we all spent a lot of time eating each other's sauces that day. So yeah,
Good networking that day.
yeah,
Yeah.
good networking there.
There you go.
A lot of beer was drank that day too.
Yeah. Oh, it was at a brewery, so Sweetwater. So yeah, I ended up driving back because Eric had a little fun there.
Always have fun. That's my motto. I really
Mhm.
like beer and I like wines, but we talk about kind of flavors that inspire us sometimes. And it's crazy because sometimes I'll try a beer and I'm like, I really enjoy that flavor. And then I try to say, okay, how can I turn that into a hot sauce? Or is there a specific pepper that will go with? So the one that I'm kind of like on right now, the flavor that I really like is a grapefruit. Someone made a grapefruit IPA. And I'm just like, oh, this would be awesome with some sort of, try to put some spice to it and see what happens.
I'll send you some of our grapefruit habanero. We just made a batch. It comes out next month.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
What you got,
I also
Claire?
I was just gonna say though, and comment to about the beers. I found that like a really like floral IPA is really good with that floral ghost pepper note that I was talking about before. Like they balance each other really nicely. And then you follow up with like the bitterness, and that lends itself well to the bitterness of the chili pepper. And like those are really nice combinations.
Yeah.
Today I brought Seed Ranch umami.
Yeah.
The
Good stuff.
yeah, I really like Seed Ranch. I've always just really enjoyed their stuff. And this has just got like tamari is the first ingredient. Water, olive oil, tomato paste, capers, olives, porcini mushrooms, chocolate habanero, shiitake mushroom, seaweed, garlic, red miso. I mean, it's like everything umami here. And yeah, that's like, I want to add it to like a chili or just a sauce, or like a cooking sauce to just raise that umami. Yeah, I just really enjoy the stuff that Seed
Yeah.
Ranch does.
And they're cool dudes too. We spent
Yeah.
a couple of shows with them this summer. So
Yeah, I did. I didn't sell at the New York Expo, but I went there. And I was, I got a chance to chat with them at the Heatness party on Friday. And I actually saw you guys, and I think I I was gonna come. You guys had like a crowd in front of your table when I was gonna come over, and I was hitting my limit of like where I could go during the day, and so I'm bummed. Now I'm meeting you guys, and I'm bummed that I didn't get over and get to talk to you guys and try the sauce.
Push people out of the way. Use your elbows.
Yeah,
Pass it
yeah.
I know,
out.
right? Do you really want me to push the other customers out of the way? Like, that's not cool.
Zach's gonna.
But
be
I'll
there
get some
for
of your
sure.
sauce. I'll get some of your sauce. I
New York
want to
was
try it.
interesting. You could have pushed some of those people out of the way, you know.
New York was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, New York is a weird place. I had fun, but New York was that was a wild place.
All right. So I got this stuff. New company.
Ooh.
Pancho Picante. Schwanky little bottle.
Yeah, that's a cool little bottle.
I think they do something with the University of West Virginia. They like grow their peppers or some shit like that. I don't know. Simple ingredient list. You got peppers, just with peppers. Doesn't say what peppers. Vinegar, tomato, salt, garlic. Not gonna lie, I'm not super excited about the canola oil. But that's just me. So let me give this a shake real quick.
You haven't tried this one before?
No, this is brand new to me. Someone sent me this for Secret Santa.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'll give it a whirl. You know, again, I'm not a big fan of canola oil, but
Yeah,
fair.
I'm not either.
Tastes exactly how it sounds like it would taste: peppers and salt and tomato, a little bit of garlic.
And no specific peppers, just peppers in general.
It just says peppers, man, and that kind of irritates me. But that's again,
I was
that's just me.
gonna follow up with a question on that because I know you guys talk a lot about like labels and ingredients. Like in that case, is that fine, or is that based on their state, or is that based on like, you know, like
Yeah, no, I mean, peppers are just an ingredient in and of themselves. You don't need to list variety. Just the same way you can say orange and you don't have to say whether it's a navel orange or a other kind, you know, sugar
like honey
orange or whatever.
and stuff like that?
Honey, yeah, that's another really
Okay.
good example. Yeah, a pepper is
I mean,
just a
it's-
pepper. But it feels lame to not list it. Like that's, you know, nobody's gonna steal your recipe because you list the pepper flavors.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, again, not a fan of the canola oil, and you would think with like the schwanky little bottle, right?
That's
You
always
would-
a bad sign for a new company, though.
Well, I'm just saying, with you're putting the money into the fucking packaging, why wouldn't you also put the money into the ingredients?
Yeah.
You know what I
So-
mean?
Mhm.
What's your issue with canola oil? Is it canola specifically or any oil, or what would you have rather see them use?
I mean, like avocado oil,
Yeah.
personally.
Good one.
I'm not a big fan of those highly processed oils. I'm just not.
We use sunflower oil in a couple of our products and in our baking, and I like that, but I kind of feel like vegetable oils, I don't know, they're all vegetable oils.
Yeah.
I don't like soy oil.
Soybean, I'm not a big fan of grapeseed, canola.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like canola, but that part of that is because we're in the canola, like we've got
Yeah.
canola fields all around us.
Yeah,
No,
I feel
I-
like where I grew up, canola oil was like the standard neutral oil to use.
Yeah.
And then I moved here and everybody was into sunflower, and I was like, okay, sounds good.
No. What you got, Spike?
All right. I realized I haven't shared this one on here. It's a sauce that I actually really love, but I wanted to use it for hot sauce show and tell. And I just love the maker. It's
Oh, I saw it already.
Doc's,
Nice.
Doc's Fusion Fuel. Bob Rice is just the best. He's one of my favorite people in the hot sauce industry. He's just a good dude. And this sauce is one of my favorites. A little thick on the end. I use it all the time. It's just really good. It's a really good sauce. I think I got some on my lip.
I mean,
I hate getting hot sauce on my lips. It makes me miserable.
clearly there is something fire roasted in this sauce. Clearly.
Oh, and you would want to promote that.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. I'm not trashing. It's a good sauce. I will use it 100%. But if I were bringing this product to market, I would do it. You know, fire roasted ingredients.
All
Promote
right.
the uniqueness of it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
The Eddie and Eric, I want to pick up some of your sauces because I didn't get a chance to try them in New York. Which one should I pick up? Or two? One or two?
Spike's favorite, agave jalapeno.
I do really like agave.
So
Yeah,
I would
I'll
say
have
our
it for
agave
Spike.
jalapeno is going to be our most unique sauce. It is our best seller. It's the fan favorite. It's good for, our mission is to introduce people into the world of spicy foods. So it's something that the whole family can enjoy. It's kind of like what Johnny Scoville said once. It's a gateway sauce, that and our honey mango habanero. So those are probably the two I'd go with. But we'll trade because
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
a lineup of stuff I've wanted to try as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
I've tried all the
Megan's-
Zac stuff. So I no, but I always
I'll send you some goodies, and if there's anything in particular you want to try, you tried the taco vibes, right?
I have tried Taco Vibes. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I
It's good. It's hot.
highly recommend the smoked onion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you haven't tried that one, that is our most popular sauce,
Cool. Then-
enduringly from season 7 of Hot Ones. So
Okay, and we'll side panel this week, and we'll see,
Yeah.
and then we'll get you going. We'll get each other going. Yeah, I love doing that. I've gotten
Yeah.
stuff from Zac. I remember I bought some boxes from him back in the day. It's like, hey, can you just put you had the black labeled ones. It's like, just put any 4 sauces in there for me. And just make sure there's a ghost of saffron or something like that. So I still haven't tried the hotter version of it yet, but I don't know why I haven't.
Honestly, I prefer the original. It's just a better balanced sauce. We used smoked ghost peppers in the hotter version, and I feel like they just kind of steal.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's still good. It's still
Yeah.
good. It's just the OG is more well-rounded, in my opinion.
It's such a good sauce.
Yeah, I love it on quesadillas. Like, that's my favorite thing to eat it on. Is I'll just put it I'll get a quesadilla and I'll put a layer in between 2 slices of the quesadilla, and then I make a sandwich with it, and then it's the ghost of saffron in the middle of it. And it's mostly like the Taco Bell quesadillas because it's like my favorite individual fast food item. It's like the only thing I eat from Taco Bell is their chicken quesadilla. But I'll just layer, like if it was like a jam or jelly in between, and then I just eat it kind of like a sandwich or something like that. So, but
I
yeah,
have to tell you, Zac, that I was really prepared not to like it. I'm not a huge saffron fan, and people people in the hot sauce group go on about it so much that I was like, I don't know, all the hype, and it's the one that you sent me that I'm more than halfway down on it now. I just keep pulling for it.
dude, it's
Yeah.
funny. Well, not to continue blowing you up here, but I recently had someone from the industry text message me. It's like, man, have you tried this high desert guy stuff? Like, is it just like people just blowing smoke, or is it good? As like, it's one of the only sauces I've ever reordered. So yes, it's very good, and it really is like what people say it is. And he's like, okay, so I guess I'm gonna have to try it. It's like, you should try it. But
I had somebody do the same thing.
it's funny how like people start talking about something, and then there's certain people that just can't help but go to the negative side of it, like,
Yeah.
and I was like, no,
Uh,
this is not truff. Like, this is really good stuff. Like,
Yeah,
I went back to
when
truff.
that sauce was like first blowing up, dude, I had, oh shit, what was I gonna say? Brain farting right now. Well, I had people telling me that I was paying everybody in the hot sauce groups to promote that sauce.
Yeah, all 26.
Yeah,
That's some expensive promotion right there.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah,
I didn't get my check. What the hell?
Shoot, for real.
So, do you guys have any questions for us?
I mean, there's a lot of questions that specifically to you, Claire, that I would have that I think is like a conversation that maybe we have in the future, because off
Sure.
of one of the previous episodes, one of we had 3 original recipes we wanted to come out with. Yeah, we could just talk about it now, like your approach as a
Sure.
co-packer.
Yeah.
So one of them involves, without giving away what it is, because we do want to
Sure.
do it one day, is has smoked ingredients, and
Yep.
co-packers won't smoke stuff for you. And then going back to what you said earlier, Spike, is everybody's like, oh, just put liquid smoke, and it's just not the same. It's not the same. So I said, we're not just going to compromise the integrity of this sauce. So we changed it to something different. But we really want to launch that specific version of it, like with the smoked ingredients.
So Claire can smoke things, right?
Yeah, that's
I
was listening
love my
to
smoker.
that podcast, to that
Yeah.
episode. I put it on pause. I called Eric right away. I was like,
He
I
did.
found a co-packer that smokes. Is like, who? I was like, You're gonna meet her. Don't worry. And then we were driving back from Jacksonville last week, and I was like, here, I want you to listen to this episode. Because that episode where they interviewed you,
Oh
I
yeah.
thought was-
Yeah.
Again, I've listened to that one twice because
Nice.
there's just you guys covered so much, and for us who have no knowledge of the manufacturing aspect of this, other than what we see while we're there in person with our co-packers, I was just like, okay, this. I messaged Zach the other day. We were talking. I was like, I'm a little intimidated coming on this show. You guys have so much knowledge, and individually, it just seems like together you guys create like what is like when the Power Rangers come together and they create the Megazord, the hot sauce recovered.
We got a new name for the
Oh.
podcast.
Right?
Hot sauce Megazord.
But yeah, that's a question, like the best way to approach like smoking products. Obviously when we created the recipe ourselves, or we did it on a little smoker, a little
Yeah.
round smoker. Eric likes to smoke meats and stuff, so we just kind of use his little hibachi grill style thing.
Yeah.
22-inch Weber.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
we started out with smoking. I think trying to remember. We went through a handful of different smokers at home. Like when I first started out, Vermont has cottage laws, and so we were making small batches of hot sauce at home, and so it was just our home smoker. And we've had several different ones. Electric is just the easiest to control. And then when we first started out, when I separated, the home production and moved it into a commercial, my commercial facility, I got that same smoker, and it was a small one. And then I did a Kickstarter back in 2018, 19, somewhere in there. I don't remember exactly when I did it. And actually one of the things that you could win, or you could like bid for on the Kickstarter, was our old smoker.
Cool.
Which they had to come and pick it up though. So they came into the class for me, and then they picked up the old smoker. It was great. But our new smoker, I mean, it's not new anymore, but it's about the size of like an apartment refrigerator, and it's electric, and it smokes so well and so moistly. So like you don't lose the liquid because it's so tight. Normal smokers get really dry and you lose all this smoke all over the place. And there's just like little hole up at the top that vents out a little bit of smoke. We have it under one of our hoods, so we're smoking inside. And it's so moist. So I don't know if I've mentioned it on one of the shows at some point, but we have a lot of juice left over from all our smoked stuff. And so we have a smoked onion juice that we use in some of our other sauces, and it's like liquid smoke. And it's just smoked onion juice. We'll even save the smoke from jalapenos from Chipotle's and use that for things as well. So those are really nice ingredients to work with. Most of it we pour down the drain because we can't, every time we run the smoker with the onions, we get like a hotel pan. We get about 5 gallons worth of smoked liquid from each time we run the smoker for the onions. Yeah.
Freeze it and send it to me.
We have a lot in our freezer, so we'd have to figure out how to send the frozen stuff. But yeah,
your tiny little 2,000 square foot freezer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Bigger,
My house.
bigger than my fucking house too.
Yeah, we have an entire pallet of smoked onion juice, and then we were like, we're gonna start pouring this down the drain now. But we use really good onions too. They're Walla Wallas, and they're all sweet, and so the inside of our smoker gets candied with the Walla Walla juice.
Nice.
So with the smoker, obviously you can use different type of wood. So if I wanted to go with the cherry wood as opposed to an oak wood, we can do that as well. Cool.
Yeah, so we smoke, Butterfly Bakery does everything on maple wood, and then we've got co-pack clients who use cherry and apple, and we can use all of those. We've definitely found a preference on the wood that we like in terms of how it's cut and what it's made out of, because there's definitely a wide variety of smoking woods out there. So we found a really good source, and they've got a really wide variety of woods available to use.
Solid.
Yeah, and we won't smoke meat in there. We only smoke vegetables, so don't ask us to.
You got it.
So no ribeye hot sauce.
Yeah, no briskets,
No
in
brisket
between.
hot sauce.
As tempting as it may be.
Yeah. No, that's the only
And-
question I'd have. Again, I think we got really excited when we heard that. So I think we'll reach out, to chat with you about some stuff.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't really have any other questions. For anybody. I don't know, Eric, do you?
No, I asked the questions about what's everyone's favorite pepper, and that was really
Yeah, okay. He
was really
sprinkled
good
in
one.
his questions earlier.
You know what we should ask you guys, which Spike, you didn't put in the list of questions, is if you guys have been listening to the show, you know about the $100 hot sauce.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But what the ingredient, what ingredient or process do you guys think should be in the $100 hot sauce?
I was actually thinking about this in my head during this episode. So Spike, I want to touch base with you after the show. But I have an idea.
Okay.
I don't even know what ingredients are valued so high on outside of like, you know, a really high-end bourbon sauce or like scotch or something like that. But I already see you wouldn't use that. So I a process, something that would involve a lot of like man hours, you know, like hours. So like a
process
slow
would be
roasted
fine, yeah.
something or another.
Yeah.
Where, you know, it's not so much the ingredients, it's the actual labor going into it to perfect something. But yeah, you have me stumped on that. I don't know, Eric, if you have anything. Zach.
I can't think of anything.
I forgot Claire's gonna be part of this process now too.
Yeah,
Am I
absolutely,
correct?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you guys don't mind hanging out for a couple minutes.
No, man. I'm here for you guys.
Well, not you guys.
Bro, it's a secret thing, bro.
I'm out of here.
Where'd he go?
That's right. I thought we were just gonna cut the recording.
Well, I can't give you my
That's
idea. So
I just want to hang out longer, man.
Well,
I'm sorry.
you guys mentioned a pepper earlier that was really big in Florida, and unless I misunderstood, I feel like it's a pepper I hadn't heard of. So what?
The daddle pepper.
Do you remember what that was? What was it?
The daddle pepper.
Yeah.
Dado? What's that?
Daddle. DATIL.
Daddle.
So some people say daddle,
Oh.
some people say daddle.
Dado. I have seen that.
So
The
yeah,
till.
I definitely never tried it.
it's like super popular in St. Augustine. People go there. It's not native to Florida originally, but it's become. And when we travel out and we're from Florida, we get a lot of enthusiasts that say, "Oh, you got a daddle sauce?" And it's like, no, but now we do now, but it's in our barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's huge here, especially you go to St. Augustine, there's stores, every store has something made with that pepper. And it's kind of like a staple to that part.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
I just love interesting peppers. I love regional ingredients. You know, like I love the ingredients that people in a certain region, everybody knows it and everybody's used to it. And then outside of that region, they're like, huh, what's that?
Can you
Love
give us an
regional
idea of what
ingredients.
it's like?
So it's gonna be similar to like a habanero. It's just in that kind of that range. It's an orange pepper. Well, we ate one. Well, did you eat one, Eric, too? Because I ate
I
one.
did.
I didn't know its heat scale. I thought it was gonna be a milder one because it's a little sweet.
It is sweet.
So I went over to Eric's house as he's doing like the R&D on the barbecue, and he's like, "Hey, you want to try one of these?" And they're kind of the one I had was small, so I don't know why I didn't think of it. And I just popped it in my mouth. I was like, "Oh, this is actually spicy." He's like, "Yeah, it's the same level as a habanero." I was like, I wasn't like thinking about that, but yeah. So that's gonna be kind of like that area. It's funny. I just Googled it and it says St. Augustine, Florida. The majority are produced now in St. Augustine, Florida.
That's cool.
But it's not even like, let's see, made in this ancient city, maybe believed somewhere, I don't know. So it's not originally from here, but now this is like the headquarters to daddle pepper. So yeah,
Cool.
it's a cool pepper. Now we hope to have an actual hot sauce made with it down the line. But
How do you source it? I mean, is it from farms or is it something commercially available, or like how do you source it?
So it's when we did the R&D, we actually got it from, I think, one of the pepper growers in Ohio. That it's just someone from Facebook or Instagram, and they're like, "Oh, we have a few left over from the last crop," so they sent it down and they sent a whole box of them. But our co-packer for this sauce, because again, we have two co-packers that we bounce off of. So during season, they mash it. So they have a huge, I guess like they create the mash themselves, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they use it because they do a lot of daddle flavored products out there. They're based in St. Augustine, so that specific one.
Makes
It's
sense.
Endorphin Farms, just for
Yeah.
anybody who wants to know. So we use Endorphin Farms and we use IPAC in Winter Springs. We've used Arizona Spice Companies, who started us out down in the Phoenix area. They're a little outside Phoenix. And then Hotbox Philly, which is the owner of Fiaco, so Roddy. When we did our seasonal sauce, we used him for our pumpkin spice ghost pepper sauce. We did like 350, 400 bottles of that, and he did that for us. So
Nice.
yeah, we would love to work with everybody and just keep on supporting each other. I think that's really cool. There's no reason to just limit yourself to one co-packer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
luckily,
we've had co-pack clients who work with other co-packers, and then the other co-packer goes out of business. So it is also like just a level of protection.
absolutely.
Even if in his case, we were both making most of the same sauces, which had a level of complication with consistency between the two of us.
Yeah.
But even if you have a co-packer who's only making one sauce, but then another co-packer makes another sauce, goes out of business, you already have that relationship in place. You already know how to work well together. It really does give you some protection.
Yeah, I've talked to some companies who they've scaled pretty quickly, and they're pushing a lot of sauces. So they have a co-packer on like the West Coast that does stuff for their distribution on the West Coast, and then on the East Coast they have a different one. And I think to myself, I was like, there's got to be a moment where you're like, it's like having a Coke made in Atlanta versus having a Coke made in Mexico. Although that's a little different because they use a different sugar. But even in Colombia, like the Coke tastes completely different than it does here in Miami, or in Florida, versus on the other side. Water is a big factor for a lot of things too.
And equipment too. It's really it's nothing makes you examine your processes in like trying to match to a different co-packer, because you have things that you just do your way and it works, and all of a sudden you have two sauces that you think you did exactly the same and they end up slightly different, and then you have to like figure out what's different about your process than my process. And yeah, it's a fun little thing to figure out.
Yeah,
cool.
But
we good?
That's it. I think we're done.
Yeah,
awesome.
Well, thank you.
Really great meeting you guys.
Yeah, it was great to
meeting you
meet
too.
you. Really happy to have you on.
Let me just say one thing, because I know, and I'll let you go because I know we took so long. I hope to see you at the Portland Hot Sauce Expo next year, Spike. I know you've talked a lot about that. I did all the expos this year, from Fiery Foods to all the ones that Steve Seabury does, Pennsylvania, all these things. So I definitely know which ones I'd go back to and which ones I wouldn't go back to. For the most part, I'd go back to all of them. But the camaraderie part is like my favorite part of that.
Yeah.
So, just being able, and you shut down, especially on the first day when you don't have to unload and pack everything up, and you could just go and hang out. And there's always like a hangout where people just sit down and just talk for a few hours. So, if I hope to see you there. And
We
Zach,
have
I'll see
all the
you in
plans to be there. Absolutely.
Mexico. So yeah. I tell
it's
Steve, I was like, I'll pay it all at once for your whole thing, just because that's how it's like. People will go 4 days after he's released it and it's already booked. So make sure you're on it right away. Although I'm sure he'd want to have you there. So
say that one more
Yeah.
time. I didn't catch that.
yeah, I said that real quick. So he'll send out the application, and Portland is one of the ones that will fill up the quickest. So make sure you are watching like the groups or something, or you're communicating with him so that as soon as he sends out the applications that you submit as well, because it's a first come, first serve.
Awesome. Thank you for
And
telling me that.
Portland is one of the quickest ones to just book up. For me, out of all of them, Illinois and Portland are my two favorite shows I've ever done ever. So
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. It was great to meet you. And yes, we will see each other at the Portland show.
you got it.
For sure, guys. Have a good
Bye,
night.
guys.
Really great to meet you
Later.
guys.
Take care
See you
now.
later.
Flavor Balance Heat, the podcast for hot sauce lovers and makers, was brought to you by Butterfly Bakery of Vermont, High Desert Sauce Co., and Irish Spike's Unique Hot Sauces and Vandal Pepper Sauces. This has been a Spike Mind Media production.